Hi guys, Krystal here. This video is going to be my semester 3 nursing school update video. Now, yes, the title is true. I did fail my final exam. But before we get into that, I'm gonna need you to subscribe to my channel if you are not already subscribed. I need you to like this video if you find it interesting or helpful, and to leave me a comment. This semester, okay, so the class that graduated before us, as well as the faculty, warned us that third semester is the hardest semester. Apparently, a lot of people fail out, they get overwhelmed, they lose a lot of people. So our class is going into this semester like, okay, I need to be on top of my stuff. I need to make sure that I'm not getting behind, so that I'm not one of those people that, you know, don't complete third semester successfully. So, and then we were just on summer break, so we got an entire summer to kind of like relax and like dial down from nursing school, and then third semester comes and we're jumping headfirst right back into nursing. So before our third semester, Houston went through this devastating hurricane, Hurricane Harvey, and there was a massive flood over the entire city of Houston, right? A lot of my friends lost their homes. They had to evacuate their homes. Mind you, this is the week before nursing school starts, right? So a lot of people were emotionally and physically and mentally drained before the semester even started. Thankfully, me and my family were safe. We didn't get, none of our property or belongings were flooded, so that's good. The flood ended up putting us behind a week. So our first semester was supposed to start, I think, August the 28th, and we didn't start until the week after that. Now, mind you, we're freaking out because we're like, okay, we're in the first semester, we're gonna be so behind, because the first week is usually when we figure out what's expected of us, how many exams we're gonna have, what's the calendar looking like, clinical days and all of that stuff. And we usually have clinical orientation or hospital orientation that first week. So we weren't able to do any of that. And if we don't have hospital orientation, we can't go to clinical. If we don't go to clinical, we don't get our clinical hours. So everybody was just freaking out. So, and then the hospitals were kind of in their own emergency state because they had to take in all of the flood victims. So they weren't really worried about doing a student orientation at the time. But thankfully, our instructors worked really hard to get us in to do our orientation so that we can start clinical on time. So everything went well with that. The hurricane didn't really affect our scheduling that much, and we were able to shift our schedule around so that we had enough time for our exams and for clinical. So I'm going to start off talking about lecture. Okay, so we had 5 exams, and the only thing different from this semester is that the content was so heavy. Like, when I tell you, second semester we probably had like 100 to 120 slides per content. This semester it was literally like 300 slides, and you had to remember first semester, second semester, and on top of that learn the information that we just did, or that we were getting taught. So that was like brain overdrive, seriously. Like, our cardiac unit, we had 3 weeks of lecture for 1 unit. So that was probably the biggest difference. Also, our instructors teach the unit that they specialize in. For instance, for our mother baby section, our instructor who specializes in labor and delivery teaches that section, so that she's more used to the content and it's kind of like her thing, so it's easier for her to understand. I don't know. But I kind of like that, but then again, I don't like it, because once you get used to one teacher's teaching style, like, you have to switch it up for the next teacher. And one teacher may be like, okay, read the book, I'm testing by the book, and then the next teacher be like, oh, don't worry about the book. If you read the book, it'll be a waste of time. Focus on the slides and what I say in class. So it's like, for each test, you have to learn what that teacher wants, learn their teaching style and their testing style. You have to like tailor your studying to that. So my test average throughout the semester was around an 86, which is really good. The goal in my program is pretty much you need to do super well on the unit exam so you can fail the final and still be good, right? So first semester, the instructors make the final. and it's everything you did first semester. Second semester, we take the mid-curricular HESI, which is easy compared to the final that my instructors make. Third semester, we take a final that's made by our instructors, which covers everything that we did in third semester. And fourth semester, we take the like the last HESI, that's like a pre-NCLEX style HESI, and that's considered our final. So when the teachers make the final, I feel like they do their best to make it like difficult. Like you really need to work super hard to get a really good grade on this final. I needed to make at least a 40% on the final to pass the class to go to the next semester. So I was in a good spot. Now a lot of people in my class weren't as lucky. And that's why I thank God, because it could have easily been different, especially since this semester, like I started being more involved in church. And I feel like that affected me a little bit, but I feel like it was worth it because I had to really prioritize and not procrastinate, because I joined the praise team and we have rehearsal every Monday and my tests are on Tuesdays. So that kind of cut into my study time Monday nights, but I thank God that the sacrifice to sing and be active in church paid off, because it could have been worse. So I needed a 40% to pass. So I kind of was like not worried about it, because I knew that I knew at least 40% of the material. So we get in there to take the final, and okay, you know, like when you're taking a nursing exam, the first 5 to 10 questions, you already know if the test is going to be a good test or a bad test. So I get on question 1. Question 1 was easy. Then I get on question 2 and I'm like, wait a minute, like, okay. Like I had to really think it through and try to remember, you know, that content. And get to question 3, question 4. By question 5, I already knew that this test was going to be a beast. Get to question 10, at this point I'm just like, man, like, I don't know. And so we get like an hour and a half for 50 questions and for our regular exams, and I never use that much time. Like I always have like 25 to 30 minutes left. But this time I used all of the time. Like this exam was so difficult. And I don't know if it's because the content was off of like 5 different like topics or 6 different topics, or if it was just the fact that it was a hard exam. So I hit submit and I scroll down and my score says 66, and I was a little upset, even though I knew that I made it to 4th semester. Like I was a little upset because like I don't make those kind of grades, and it's like bittersweet. Like I was happy that I made the score that I needed to make, but then again it's like a 66 really. So walk outside and it's like, it's okay when you fail and everybody else fail, but if you fail by yourself, then it's like, okay. Because it's like, I know that I'm smart enough, or I know that I know this content, you know? So you walk out of class and you realize that everybody failed it. Not everybody, but the class average was like a 66. So that kind of made me feel better, knowing that like my classmates kind of was there, you know, with me with like the same scores. But a lot of people did not make it, unfortunately, because like I said, some people needed like a 80 going into it, and that's just like, it's not realistic, because the final is a beast. So yes, I did fail my final exam, but I did so well on my previous exams and the unit exams that I had some cushion. Like I was able to fail this final and still move on. So I thank God for that. Moving on to clinical. Okay, I love clinical, you already know this. So this semester I was at the same hospital, I just had a different instructor. Third semester and fourth semester you have the same clinical instructor and you're at the same hospital, because they kind of want you to get used to that instructor and they want you to get used to the hospital, because it's like your last little, you know, run. My new clinical instructor is really amazing. She is very, very intelligent, and she gets you thinking a way that you didn't know that you could think. For instance, second semester, clinical was more on the disease process. Like if a patient had congestive heart failure, then we're focused on the disease process and what that means for this patient. This semester, she was more on, okay, so what drugs are this person taking and what could go wrong? Okay, this person is, yeah, he's here for chest pain, but what could go wrong in his stay? So that, it was kind of hard at first for me, but then it started to get a little easier and a little easier. And this semester clinical, we were able to go to the ICU, the emergency room, the cath lab, labor and delivery. And labor and delivery, I like it, but like I said, it's not for me. So I enjoyed it, and I think that it's great, but I don't think that I would like to be a labor and delivery nurse. I did go to the cath lab, and that was like the most amazing experience. I had the best nurses there who were just so helpful, and I got to see so much, and they answered all of my questions, and they were so eager to help. Like, a nurse could literally make or break your clinical day. Like, if you have not necessarily a bad nurse, but a nurse who doesn't really care for mentoring or taking on students, then they could like make your clinical day not as fun or effective. But if you have one who just really wants to teach you, like, I love that. And that's what I had when I was in the cath lab. I went to the SICU, and y'all, I think that's where I'm meant to be. Like, I think that the ICU is where my heart belongs. I love just the setting and just the intensity, and the fact that the nurses kind of have more, not skill, but they're required to do a little bit more, if that makes sense. And the nurse that I had, she was awesome, and she told my instructor that some really good things about me. And mind you, like, I want to get a job at this hospital that I'm doing clinical at, so it's like I'm trying to just really shine. Like, I'm trying to really do really well so that I can get a job here once I graduate. And then the nurse, she was like, oh, we would love to have her. And my clinical instructor was like, I think Krystal is meant to be here in this setting. So hopefully, y'all pray on that I get in the ICU when I graduate. But anyway, so I enjoyed the ICU. The emergency room, I didn't really have a good experience because I don't think that I had one of those nurses that just really wanted to help, like, teach students. And I completely get that. Like, it's your job and it's your license, so it's like you're not obligated to help students. So I completely understand, but I think that if I would have had a different nurse, then my experience there would have been a lot better. So I think that I would also like to do the emergency room, but the emergency room and the ICU are kind of completely different. Like, in the emergency room, like, it literally can go down at any moment. Like, you don't know what you're gonna get, and I like that. But I also like the critical care part, so it's like I'm torn. So we go to these same specialties next semester, so I'll get to kind of see what I like and where I feel like I would like to be. But I don't have to know ASAP, like, I have time. Clinical this semester, I ended up with a B because it's more, so second semester was more, you do a care plan every single week on your patient, and your teacher grades it, and you get a grade, and all of those grades equal your final grade. So this semester wasn't like that. Like, we had to do an education paper, we had to do one care plan, one long form document, and those all were worth 30%. So that's 90% combined, because the care plan was worth 30%, the education paper was worth 30%, and the document was worth 30%. And then we had like a presentation and this evaluation that we had to do, which was worth 10%. So care plans are super subjective. Like, you can write a bomb care plan and one instructor is like, oh, this is like a solid A. And then you give that same care plan to another instructor and they give you a C because of, like, the wording is different, or they don't think that you should have used this patho or whatever. So care plans are super subjective. Like, last semester I was getting A's on all my care plans, and this semester when I turned in my one care plan I got a B. And I think that it's just because of the different expectations of the clinical instructor, and that's completely fine. Like, I'm not one of those people who are just like, oh man, I got a B. Like, I will take that B and I will be happy with it, because I know that some people are failing and they would like that B. So, and I'm not one of those people who want to end nursing school with a 4.0. As long as I end and graduate, like, I'm fine with that. So I enjoyed clinical this semester, and I'm looking forward to my last clinical. We only have 12 more clinical days until we're actually like taking care of people. Like, that's kind of scary. But yeah, so I had a B in clinical and a B in lecture. So I end this semester with a 3.0. I'm very pleased with that. So there were some really good things that happened this semester, and there were some not so good things that happened this semester. We had picture day where we wore our clinical uniform and we all took individual pictures, and we took a group picture for our pinning ceremony, which was so fun. Like, it actually made us feel like we were like that one step closer to pinning and to being done. So that was super exciting. Also, I was passing my classes. Like, they said that third semester would be the hardest, but I was killing it. Like, I mean, I didn't make an A on each test, but like, considering the fact that I was a super busy parent, wife, active in church and everything, like, I was doing pretty darn good. Another super exciting thing that happened this semester was that I met a subscriber, or one of my Snapchat friends. I had been having a hard time. After I made my how I balance being a mom, wife, and a nursing student video, like literally a few weeks after that, I started to get super overwhelmed. Like, I felt like I was doing so good at school. I was doing so good with being a good wife and a good mother. I was active in church, you know, doing as much as I could there. But I felt like I was successful at doing everything except for taking care of me. And that started to really affect my mood and just me feeling overwhelmed. Like, I started to become super sad. Like, one day I was just in the bed and I told my husband, I was like, I'm sad. And I started to cry, and he was like, what's wrong? And I was trying to just explain, like, I felt like I was being pulled everywhere. Church, mom, wife, school. But myself was like the last on the list, and it was hard for me to have a good self-esteem about myself. Like, I didn't feel like I was pretty. I wore workout clothes and hats every day because I didn't have time to do my hair or like dress nice. I felt very overwhelmed. And so, like, I had a discussion with him on a Thursday night. So I got ready for clinical Friday, and that day I was getting ready to go to the cath lab. So when you're going to a specialty, your clinical instructor has to escort you there because they have the badges to get in. You can't just walk up to the cath lab and be like, hi, I'm a student, and they're gonna be like, yeah. But so she stopped and got coffee that morning. So on the way up to the cath lab, she said, okay, y'all, wait a second. It was me and this other girl. She was like, okay, y'all, wait a second, I have to use the restroom. So she went to use the restroom, and so my friend and I were just sitting out there, you know, waiting, and my friend was like looking at herself in the mirror, and I was like, you cute. And then there was this girl sitting on the bench, and she was like, I watch your Snapchat. And I was like, you do? And she was like, yes. She was like, you're Krystal. And I was like, yeah, what's your name? She was like, I'm Kelly. She was like, I messaged you about one of my programs. And I was like, oh my gosh. And so I met her, and y'all, she was gorgeous. She was so sweet, and she literally made my day. I feel like God placed her in that moment just for me, because like I was feeling down, and she may feel the same way that, you know, she was excited to meet me, but I feel like meeting her did more for me than it did for her, because like in that moment, like it made me like feel motivated again. Like it made me feel like, okay, you know, it's hard, but you're in the right place. You're in the right place at the right time, and this is what you're supposed to be doing. So Kelly, I'm so happy that I met you. You are so beautiful. You're so sweet, and I pray that all of your nursing dreams come true and that you are as successful as you dream. It's so crazy because every semester I have a story about like one of my supporters or whatever. Like, y'all don't understand. Like, y'all really helped me so much, especially on Snapchat. Like, everybody messages me on Snapchat about what they're going through. Either you failed something, you're trying to take the HESI, you're trying to get in the program, and like, I give you my encouraging words, and then later you guys message me back about how you got in, how you passed, how this happened. And it's y'all, it does more for me than any of my advice could ever do for you, and I appreciate it so much. I literally am going to 4th semester. Like, I literally have 1 more semester of nursing school. And if you look back on my very first video that I made when I was showing you like my books and my patch and my scrubs, and like till now where I'm entering into my last semester, like it makes me just feel so grateful, and it just makes me realize, okay, so like, I don't know if y'all ever know, but I feel like I really haven't accomplished anything alone for myself. Like, yes, I'm a wife, but I'm a wife because my husband proposed to me. Yes, I'm a mom, but I'm a mom because I'm Lola's mother. And I don't feel like I have anything that I did on my own. So this is my one thing that I'm doing on my own, and I'm just super excited and I'm super happy. Like, I'm really doing it. Like, it's exciting. Like, if you have anything that you want to do, like, you can literally do it. Like, I'm not supposed to be here. Like, my GPA was the worst, and when you write it down on paper, it doesn't make sense. But there's somebody who, you know, sits high and looks low, that has a plan for me, and I'm super grateful. Next year, I'm doing a bunch of giveaways. I am going to try to film every single thing that happens. Like, it's my last semester, so I'm going to really like document and film everything. So if you're not subscribed, I'm gonna need you to go ahead and subscribe now. Plus, I have a project that I'm working on that I cannot wait to share with you guys. I'm just super excited. Like, I'm almost done, and if you have been with me from the very beginning, I appreciate you and I thank you. So I will see you guys in my next video. I hope you guys have a happy holiday, and thanks for watching.